Imagine if you had a son or a daughter, early teenage years, 13, 14, 15, and they were hard at work, whether it's under the table or not, doing 40 plus hours a week, same as an adult. How would that make one feel as a parent? Would they feel discouraged or worried that their child is working at such an early age? Or would that lead them to step in and bring it up with the law that that's unlawful, that having a child work at that young of an age is unfair and unjust? Well, that's what brings us to our topic today of what we're going to talk about on ethics and compliances in corporate America. Firstly, the three things we need to look at when talking about ethics and compliances is the value for society as a whole. Where does this value come from? How does it benefit our society? And what makes it positive or useful for us? Secondly, the balance in varying stakeholder interest. And third, the accountability, both financial and non-financial, whether it be on the companies, the businesses, corporations. In today's topic, we go in about the Department of Labor filing a lawsuit against Hyundai Motor. This occurred when they filed a lawsuit back in May, accusing Hyundai Motor Auto Parts facility in Alabama of employing a 13-year-old girl to work on an assembly line for 50 to 60 hours a week for 6 to 7 months. There are many issues with this. However, the child is already working much more hours than much adults work in a week. Plus, she worked for many consecutive months at a time, as well as she is much under the age that she can begin working at, which leads to a lot of compliance issues and all that. The failures were twofold. How was this 13-year-old girl allowed to work on this assembly line that they're forming sheets of metal into auto body parts to create cars and other vehicles of all sorts? Surely a manager of some sort should have noticed that, hey, we have a kid here. What are they doing here? Why are they touching on this machinery? How is this ethical? How is this allowed? That's a big question that should be asked. But the bigger question is, how was this child hired in the first place? What's the hiring process behind this? What led to this happening? Are they in such a impoverished state that they need to have this child working at such a young age? Or was this forced on the child? This is something that's still unknown at hand. But still, on the company, should there not have been a hiring process where she gives her information so they can prove that she is of age to work there, has experience needed, meets all the requirements for the company to meet there, or to work there, sorry. But we go back to compliance failures. The Hyundai Motors' apparent reliance on third parties to vet documents of certain workers in their facility, whether they work full-time, part-time, on contract, or on a temporary basis. This could be an issue because it's not strictly through the company, which is ultimately what led to this happening with this child working basically under the table for this big company, which is not good at all. The Department of Labor alleged that parts supplier Smart Alabama and staffing agency Best Practice eService also benefited from child labor. However, the child labor in the U.S. supply chains has become a more prevalent risk as thousands of underage migrant children have been found to work in the United States. So this is not a new issue that's up and coming. This is just one that has been taken to court and has had a lawsuit filed against a big company for this being found out. There's most likely still more of this going on. As a result, the compliance community has been encouraged to be more thorough in conducting risk assessments for child labor in the U.S. supply chains, as the Department of Labor has sought more authority to root instances of child labor and punish the companies benefiting from it. I went ahead and looked at a site. It was by CNN. On there, Jessica Lumen, one of the narrators, she said in a statement that a 13-year-old working on an assembly line in the U.S. shocks the conscience, which I believe it very much does, especially for that child's parents, whether they know about this or they don't. When this is found out, it must surely shock them having to go through all that. And as the Department of Labor works to stop illegal child labor, they also continue to ensure that all employers are held accountable for violating the law. And this goes back to the third thing we planned on looking at, whether it's non-financial or financial standpoints. How are these big companies held accountable, and where is the ethicality in this situation? Is there a big fine? Is the company shut down? Are they reprimanded in some form? That is things we still need to ask and find more about today.